Uh, Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. We've got another live stream. We've got impending strikes against Iran by Trump and the administration and Israel and all of it. So, how does this affect Trump's broader likability? We'll talk about that. No, I'm kidding. Should I do my live streams like that? Man, what is with all these emojis? Yeah, that's crazy. If the what a fumble by Illinois. Seriously, if they I thought there was no way they could lose the Bears. They can't. They have to make a competitive offer to keep them. Trump won't do it because he's still negotiating. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm not sure what there's to negotiate. I mean, they fucking bombed them last year to try and disable their nukes. Now they're gonna what? Iran is gonna agree to have no nukes. Now it seems unlikely. Like I don't think they'll negotiate. Maybe there's like a 10% chance of the negotiations working and some type of agreement. It depends on if Trump wants to tone down things. It doesn't really seem like it. I mean, it's not happening. They're moving a lot of shit to the Middle East. The ballroom. Yep. Well, there's the ballroom. Looks like that's the front of it. Looking at the front of it, you've got the big neoclassical columns. I think the U.S. Capitol is really underrated. It's underappreciated. It's beautiful architecture. It really is. I was looking at the U.S. Capitol and I was like, it's a beautiful building. Yeah, the markets are going to get crushed, but Trump's going to do it on Friday night to try and limit the damage to the markets. I don't know, honestly. I mean, the markets will go down for like a few days or whatever, then they'll recover in the stock markets. I think crypto's probably going to be worse. You know what? If crypto crashes, I might have to make an investment for the first time in over a year into crypto. Honestly, if crypto crashes because of this Iran situation, Trump to start building the Independence Arc to Trump. Yeah, I'm more excited for that than the ballroom. I think the ballroom is going to be tough because of just how large it is, but the arch is going to be should be beautiful if it's actually going to be 250 feet. That's it's not as big as they could build it, but that's pretty much it's pushing the limits because it's a scale problem with the rest of DC. I would have liked to have seen them build it even around 400 feet high, honestly, because you just want something monumental like that. But 250 feet high is it's very imposing. If they build that arch, I think that arch is probably going to cost $400 or $500 million. I don't know where they got 100 million from. I mean, I guess it'll be dependent on what the materials they use, but there's no way that's going to cost 100 million if it's 250 feet high. I'm just saying. Kamala would have been better for the markets because there would be less uncertainty. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Democrats really support a lot of anti crypto measures, and there probably would have been even. I feel like the markets would have immediately crashed if Harris, because there was a prediction. With Bitcoin, people say, well, Trump didn't help Bitcoin very much. A lot of the Bitcoin price was already baked into Trump winning. So after he won, it was already kind of priced in, at least partially. I feel like if Kamala would have won, it would have been a pretty dire situation because a lot of people thought that Trump was going to win going into election night, anyways. So I think we would have immediately shot significantly down because people would have been shocked that Harris, and it's just anti-crypto policy basically with Harris and just the Democrats in general. 250 feet, approximately half the height of the Washington Monument. It's huge. No, it's no joke. I mean, because the Arc de Triomphe in Paris is around 170 feet, so it's 250. So it's significantly bigger than the one in Paris, which is the main Victory Arch that everyone poses at, and that's a monumental arch, and this is going to be 30% taller, probably 30% heavier. Yeah, but silver is not a really good investment right now, man. I mean, I don't think silver ever was really a good investment. You look at its performance since 2000. I mean, it goes up, it appreciates in value, but not to any high degree. I mean, really, if you just want to be safe, just buy Bitcoin. Like, if you want to be safe and you want something to appreciate a few 100% over a long period, just buy Bitcoin. That's about as safe as you can get. Now, if you're buying at the absolute top of a cycle, it becomes a problem, but now you should be safe to buy it, even if it retraces more. I would actually hold off on buying Bitcoin because I do think it is going to retrace more. If you can get it under 50 or at least under 60K, those are probably good buying zones for Bitcoin. I don't know who that is. I don't know about that arrest. Super complicated because we know Trump doesn't want a prolonged conflict. Yeah, I know, and it's so hard to see them being able to overthrow that regime in a quick amount of time. So it's like something's going to have to give. They're either just going to do limited strikes and possibly try and use the internal pressure. I think what they might do is they might try and do precision strikes on certain government people within Iran and try and disrupt their regime that way, and then maybe they'll just it'll dissolve. No, I wouldn't. I'm not a gripper. What is Polymarket saying about the probability of strikes on Iran? About 30%. Well, you know how they do it. They say, will there be a strike by the end of February, a strike by the end of March, a strike by the end of April? It's like 30% by the end of February. So it's just speculation. It's like a third. It doesn't really help us, honestly, like that type of probability. The predictive markets are just like, I don't know, man. Like they got normie attraction, but they're just, the way they advertise is really, really aggressive. Polymarket and Kalshi. You know, I remember the predictive markets. They were good. They were nice. I could appreciate them in 2024, but I don't know about now. I think they've just gotten. It's just everything in the orbit is just absorbed by these predictive markets. And if it wasn't really like that, it was a bunch of liberals that were seething because Trump was up in the predictive markets, and they would get so angry about it. But now it's just like everything is a predictive market. That's an interesting story about the I don't know how you say her name or whatever, but the one Olympian who maybe got a few silver medals or whatever, but she was basically raised in the United States, but she competes for China because she got some type of deal with them. I'll talk about that in a second. Would you do a strike on or would you do a strike on Iran if you were Trump? Well, I don't have the information. I'm not interested in. Listen. If I was in Trump's position, obviously I'd probably be getting blackmailed, so I'd probably do it. I'm not trying to justify what Trump's doing. I'm just saying how it would be if I was in the position. So, but I mean, look, you can say, well, Iran is a geopolitical threat because they're allies with our enemies, but I wouldn't be interested in doing any type of strike or anything like that because with the midterms and with the domestic problems, I don't think it's a good idea. But what about that figure skater, ice skater, whatever? She was raised in the United States. All of her training happens in the United States. She lives in the United States, and then she says, "Oh, because I can get sponsorships from the CCP, I'm gonna go compete for China." And now Trump's like, we're going to revoke your citizenship. I mean, this is a complete betrayal to the country. You can't do that. If you want to compete for China, you want to take the money, then you go live in China. You go buy a one bedroom in Beijing or something. You're not going to live here anymore. You've betrayed the country. This is the whole point of being an Olympian competing. We gave you all the training. We gave you everything. You're gonna be deported. Your citizenship has been revoked. So you're an illegal immigrant. You're gonna be deported by ICE. Because what's the point of the Olympics and allowing these people, they come to the country? It's a perfect example of an immigrant leeching off the United States and then going to compete for someone else. And then there's all these retards that are like, oh, let her do it. Let the woman get her money. So she can get her money. No. She can get her money, but she can also get deported. She can get her money, but she can get her citizenship revoked. So we can have both of those, because you're not going to get all the money from China and then you come back to the United States. That's not going to work. The country at some point has to stand up for itself when it comes to what it means to be a citizen. And this woman is just, you listen to her, she sounds not like a not pleasant person, because they asked her about 2 silvers and she's like, oh, I just got 2 more medals. Dude, all these women have all the like, and it keeps happening with women, and it's not, but all I can say is you see a lot of these women and they'll have all these like high credentials and these crazy degrees, and then you listen to them talk and you're like, this person's really not intelligent. Like, how did they get this? Seriously, how do they get these degrees? I can tell just by the way someone talks in terms of their vocabulary. And this has happened several times with women. It's like, yeah, I don't really get how you went to Harvard. This is like, how did you get into Harvard exactly? I mean, but these it's just like they have all these credentials and all this schooling, and then you listen to them speak, and the oration is just, it's just not impressive to me. I guess, yeah, China, I guess, had to pay for the medals, but the whole thing is a publicity stunt. I think China just wants to own the US and be like, yeah, we can take one of your athletes or whatever. I mean, apparently it's like one of those where one parent's from China, the other parent's from the United States, but then most of, like, I could understand if it was 50-50, but if she's lived in the United States for all her life, if she does all the training in the United States and then she gets money from China and goes to compete for them, what's the point of like US citizenship if that's even allowed? I don't get that. The one where she says fuck Trump 30 times in a campaign commercial. Yeah, they're just getting, well, think about it. You guys, let me tell you a story about this James Tellerico thing, cuz this is like a five, this is like 5 different points within one, because technically James Tellerico is running against a black woman, a black liberal woman, Jasmine Crockett, because they're in the primary stages. But it's obvious to everyone that James Tellerico has a much better chance of winning in a general setting against a Republican in Texas than Jasmine Crockett. So a lot of the smarter libs are like, Tellerico has to win. So Tellerico goes on Stephen Colbert, and they don't air the episode, and then Tellerico says, guess what? Trump blocked the episode from airing because he's scared of me. This is during a primary, mind you. So we think Trump and the government is like, well, James Tellerico is in a primary against another Democrat. We must block his interview with Stephen Colbert from airing. But, you know, that's the whole idea, is they do that. They blame Trump, and then he gets $2.5 million in money that he raised through his donors because of this. He says, well, it's the evil Trump. Trump decided not to air my interview because they're scared of, I guess they're scared of Tellerico winning in Texas. And then what happens is Jasmine Crockett comes out and she says, no, the government actually didn't do that. Tellerico's lying. So now Jasmine Crockett is defending the Trump administration because of this entire entanglement. But this is just how it is with these people. All the Democrat strategy and their campaigns, it's all just how can we agitate Trump and get Trump to pay attention to us and say we're standing up to Trump. That's it. And that commercial is a great example. They have commercials now on TV where they're like, fuck Trump, we hate Trump. Any politician or any commercial that uses swear words, I don't take seriously. I think it's childish. When politicians use swear words in general, it's very childish. It doesn't look good. They think it adds emphasis and power. It does the opposite. It makes you sound uneducated. But you're seeing more and more politicians start using swear words. I'm gonna watch the United States maybe in the FIFA World Cup. That's probably it though. Thoughts on the Olympic athlete quality over the years? I don't know. I really don't watch much of the Olympics. You know, now it's like a gooning fest with these figure skaters and stuff I see. You're gonna call it out when Vance does it? What, swearing? I don't like it in general. I don't like when politicians do it. All the podcast bros have turned on Trump, Sean Ryan being the latest one. Yeah, I don't think podcasts really have. I mean, it's whatever. I'm fucking. These are all independents who are easily led by whatever the current narrative is, and so I don't think a lot of the podcast people, if you're going to have a podcast in general, you're going to be more of an independent. You're going to be a chameleon. Podcasts are kind of dying. Well, podcasts, I think everyone can agree they've peaked already. I don't know if they're dying. I don't listen to podcasts anymore, but I certainly think podcasts have peaked. They probably peaked in like 2021, 2022. I feel like Rogan is losing some of the culture at this point, and so he's just not as relevant as he was, and he just does it honestly because he has a deal with Spotify. I mean, you get $20 million a year to do like 5 podcasts. Let me tell you something. I think Rogan would do probably basically like 1 podcast a week if it wasn't for this Spotify deal. You listen to Rogan, he doesn't look very enthusiastic about doing it. I mean, what is like these podcasts? It doesn't even make sense to do 5 podcasts a week. You talk about the exact same thing over and over again. Do people seriously listen to this? I mean, obviously, if you have really good guests on, but are people seriously listening to Bert Kreischer for the 90th time? Who's the one? Mike Baker. Remember Mike Baker? Oh man, I think that's the CIA guy or whatever, the fucking government guy that never answers anything and people make fun of it. Tom Segura. Yeah, Tom Segura will be coming on again. Joey Diaz. Oh yeah, Joey Diaz is another one. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much they really helped Trump in 2024. I think a lot of it's kind of overrated. I think Kamala Harris is really bad at running a campaign, and that's had a lot to do with her losing. That's what I'll say about that. Thoughts on the United States having a state religion? Well, the United States is inherently Christian, mainly Protestant. If you go back to the founding fathers, they say, well, they never instituted actual Christianity as the national religion. Well, they had crazy quotas on who could come into the United States. Basically, only Christians were admitted to the United States under who could even be a citizen. Christians really were the only ones that could be citizens. So it's a default Christian country. That's how it was founded. You need another collab live stream with a YouTuber. Yeah, maybe I'll just put out a tweet if somebody wants to do a collab stream. I'll do it with them. You said the United States is mostly Christian and Judaism. I think Jews are 2% of the population, so it's just mainly Christian. Did you talk about the Epstein royal family arrest? Yeah, that's pretty crazy. It's we'll see what comes of that. They were saying the arrest wasn't in relation to Epstein, but I feel like that's how you get them. And it's a pressure thing, and there's going to be people that are fall men, and there were so much against Prince Andrew. He turns into a fall guy possibly. I mean, we'll have to see what they get him for, because some people were trying to dispute and say, well, no, it's not really about the Epstein stuff. But well, Democrats messaging, I don't even know. Really, the Democrats, it's like, when are these people going to be appeased exactly? We've brought in like 20 bazillion immigrants already. They're not happy yet? They want more? I mean, I don't even get why they're angry. It's like, we brought in all these fucking immigrants. What else do you want? They want all the free. I guess they want free healthcare and all this other stuff. But yeah. The main thing with them is they just hate Trump, and that's what sells on the Democratic Party. That's what sells during their primaries before the midterms. That's for sure. Because how many messages have I seen where the Democrats are just like, Trump this, I'll stand up to the wannabe dictator. That's what they use. The wannabe dictator. Dan Bongino. Dude, that's just boomer slop with Dan Bongino. I mean, actually, I was listening to Dan Bongino, and it was better than I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be just like really service level. He wasn't terrible, but yeah, I mean, Dan Bongino, his average viewer is like 72 years old, so it's like, I don't know, man. The problem with Dan Bongino is then they talk this huge game. Like, is Dan Bongino going to really shed the Epstein fumble? Now, he can say it's not his fault and whatever, and it's just how it is. But if it happens when you're part of the administration, part of the DOJ, I mean, people are not going to be happy about that. Your grandma is 84 and a Bongino listener. Well, that would raise the average then, I guess. Thoughts on the judge Virginia ruling against the new congression? Really, they ruled against that? That's good. That's good. But are they gonna try and appeal it, or I wonder what the legality of it is now. Now, but that's good. They rule against that. That is an unjustice map. It's clearly gerrymandered. So, they should rule against that. That was a bad map that they drew. They tried to sneak it in, but if they ruled against it, hopefully that means it's not going to go through. They're trying to sneak it in with all these maps. The liberals with the gerrymandering. They got like 4 or 5 states they're trying to do it with. Virginia was one. There's a few other ones, I think. But the Republicans are going to be able to gerrymander Florida and maybe a few others. I mean, they're waiting on the Supreme Court ruling on the VRA, but I don't know if it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna be quick enough to affect the midterms. Basically, redraw the districts in a better way for Republicans because they don't have to be drawn by a certain amount of the population being minority within a certain district. Is Trump going to Iran more about Israel or Iranian people getting freedom? Uh, it's more about Israel. But it's a combination. I mean, look, obviously Iran is an enemy to the U.S. He thinks he can weaken them. That's pretty much it, I would say. And they might still try and use the justification of them becoming nuclear. Technically, I mean, they didn't destroy all their nuclear sites, but it's like that's the thing with this stuff. how do you even know what they have left in terms of their nuclear program? It's not like we have a fucking head count on the amount of enriched uranium they have. So it's like it's all just a guesstimation. So they could just say, well, they still have technically enriched uranium, so it's still a threat. Trump saying the Obama released classified information talking about aliens. Yeah, I don't even think Obama did do that. I mean, Obama said he thinks Obama said he thought aliens were real, but then backtracked and said he doesn't have any verifiable proof or something. He did the whole thing basically what every normie does. Well, if you look out in the universe, there's so many planets, there has to be alien life somewhere, just based off of probability, which honestly is true. I mean, let's be honest, but he said that he thought there were aliens, and people said, well, obviously you're the president, so you have the information, you must know. And then he's like, well, no, I'm not going to share any of that. I just think the universe is so big, there has to be life. The only way to ensure it never happens is regime change. But then, I mean, doesn't that? I guess if you install the regime and they're pro-American, then yeah. But that regime change is very risky. It can blow up in your face. But yeah, if they properly do it and they get the exiled prince in, and their Iran is more pro-America, I guess it's better. Do you see the fake story circulating mainstream media outlets that a Trump supporter, white male, killed his own daughter? Because I did see that. I did see that. That was the story from a while ago because I looked into that. And there was a family dispute like right before the Trump inauguration. I think it was in the UK, and the father claimed it was accidental discharge or something. And yeah, what a terrible story. Do you recognize anyone from your streams? It's pretty much the same people, yeah. What happened to Anakin? I got a restraining order against him, so he's been in prison. My cat filed for a restraining order against him. The Rhode Island shooter seemed to like Fuentes. Dude had an SS tattoo, transgender, was tweeting, things at Fuentes accounts and stuff, and I guess in support. But that's all over the map. A transgender griper. Would you say the U.S. military has been more effective in battles or operations than in actual war? Effected, effective. Yeah. I mean, obviously there hasn't been a war. There hasn't been a major war since World War II, like a global war. But the U.S. military is a deterrent, right? And the U.S. military mainly operates foreign, not domestically, not in defense of the United States in a literal sense. So it's hard to really say. I mean, obviously, when you go to other countries and they're thousands of miles away, it becomes a logistical problem. I think military might is it's better to flex it. It's better to basically say you have it versus actually proving it. Because nobody knows how well soldiers are going to perform and stuff like that. I mean, Technology is extremely important now with drones. Well, I don't think the total population is decreasing. Total population keeps growing, of course, unless there's some crazy virus that happens. Kashmir, India or Pakistan. Yeah, I don't know. That's a dispute. That's a dispute between those two countries. The Kashmir region. The discombobulator. Yeah, it'll probably. I would imagine they might use it if it's the type of mission. We have 341 million people right now. If we factor in legal people, population should only be around 300 million. Yeah, it's hard to know the exact number of population because everyone has a different number on the amount of illegals. That's a problem. Debate your liberal professors. How overtly liberal are they? Are they obnoxiously liberal? I mean, you'd think most professors would try and keep their own bias out of it. I wonder how liberal these professors really are in terms of them trying to manipulate students. If you were forced to pick one Democrat candidate as president, who would you pick? Fetterman. I guess Fetterman. Is there any other Democrats voting with Republicans on anything? I mean, Jesse Jackson passing. Yeah, I don't have any thoughts on that. Keep an eye on Rupert Lowe of Restore Britain. Nigel Farage and Reform UK is now establishment. Yeah, no, I was talking about that yesterday. It's very interesting. Obviously, Rupert Lowe now is he's significantly to the right of Farage, and seems like Farage has turned more into kind of the cucked Republican or the cucked conservative in UK terms. So, but the problem that we have with that is it's going to split the vote, the conservative vote between both of those parties, Restore versus Reform in the UK. So that seems like a mess. I mean, maybe they'll have enough support to where those will be the two majority parties, but I don't know. I mean, the Green Party is also getting a lot of support from the younger leftists. But also, it is one of those things to where Lowe just announced, and so he's kind of at the when you just announce something, you have all this hype, and then it dies down, and so we'll see how he ends up campaigning. They really need to come up with better party names, Restore, Reform. I mean, what about an actual like party name? I feel like Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it seems like they were trying to get rid of the fraud, and then it's like it's too intertwined with the government to fully get rid of all the fraud, unfortunately. No, I don't have a Cadillac. That's a lot of money for that. You know, I got to make money. I got to make investments, but that's what I have to do, man. Why would I pay for a car right now at this point? It doesn't make sense for me. It's cost me $40,000 to $50,000. I've got to invest my money. Yeah, Bangladesh is worse than India. So I mean, it's hard to think that one, but it is true. Time for the next Lego video. I don't have any of the sets that I built to be able to do a video. New cars can be 20K. Uh, I guess depends what kind of car brand you want. Yeah, like if you want a new basic model car, probably the best price to get is like 27, 28K from what I've seen. You think crypto's in a bear market? I mean, I guess based on the recent downturn of Bitcoin falling below 80 was tough. If it has another leg down, I mean, obviously it's in a bear. Yeah, I would used market is brutal, man. Used cars just you can't trust them. You don't know what's going on in the car as well. I don't like the getting a used car. I actually have a gently used car, but it was only like used for half a year, so it was very gently. But that was back in like 2014 or 2015. You can get a used Tesla with under 30K miles for 15K. Yeah, that's got to be an old model. I feel like that's. I feel like with slightly used Teslas, you can get for around 23, 24. I don't think you can get them for 15. Andrew, what's up, man? Do you think Bitcoin will end the year above or below 100K? Below 100K in 2026. But who knows? Maybe it's not an actual bear market. Maybe, but then that would completely invalidate the 4 year cycle. When is your top 25 college football predictions? It did. It's not even close to that. That's like 7 months. I was actually looking at a Tesla a few years ago. It was weird. I was looking to get a new car a few years ago more than I am now. And I was looking at a Tesla. I was looking at a few other cars. Yeah, I don't really like Teslas because I think they're even the just they look like humpbacks almost with how big the just the backs are so large on those on Teslas. I don't like Teslas. Just the look of them. Yeah, I saw some of the Nick Shirley video. EVs are junk. I mean, I don't think they're junk. I also think charging would be a bit annoying. I hear you have to charge a lot more than you fill up a gas tank. That seems a bit annoying, honestly. I thought it would be the same, or I thought the battery would be better. I mean, I get you can have a charger at your house, and so that would be very convenient to have a charger at your house. But I see all these people. They have to come out and to the gas stations to charge their Teslas, and I wonder. It's like, well, wouldn't you just get it installed at your house? Because the amount, it seems like the battery goes by pretty quickly. Seems like a hindrance to have to run out to and you have to charge it for like 40 minutes. It's not like filling up a gas tank where it's done in 2 minutes. Apparently it takes 30 or 40 minutes to charge a Tesla full. I mean, I think they're getting better with the time, but the charging time. Yeah, the Tesla trucks honestly were built for like Mars or really like terraforming another planet. So I can understand the Tesla Trump trucks. They look like Halo. Looks like something you'd find in Halo. So that's an interesting aesthetic, but it doesn't really fit the modern American road. But I can appreciate the aesthetic of it being different and futuristic, but it just doesn't fit. It might fit Mars, but I mean, it just doesn't fit. You charge your Tesla at the gym when you go. Well, that's interesting. You've got a charging areas at gyms. You're a sitting duck waiting to get robbed if you sit in a bad area. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that. It depends how bad the area. I mean, I see people charge them all the time. There's really no issues, but the Ohio climate. Yeah, I like all 4 seasons, so I like the Ohio climate. But most people obviously don't like that. Yeah, the snow melted here. Yeah, the snow is fully melted now. It took about probably a week for it to melt, but it was right now it's 49 degrees, so it's very very warm for this. It's gonna cool off a little bit. It's gonna go back into the 20s, but we had like that long spell of like negative temperature. Ohio winters are too brutal, but the rest is fine. Yeah, but normally we've actually had pretty mild winters. I mean, this one was a little bit worse. Yeah, this one was definitely worse. But normally, I mean, this is kind of what we've had, where it's like been 50 degrees in January, February. But again, this year it was colder because we had a dip in the jet stream and it kind of entrenched itself, and so we had constant cold weather. Stream old COD games just once to see if the audience would watch. Dude, nobody would watch that shit, honestly. I mean, that would have to honestly almost be done on my other channel if I did something like that. You don't see a justification to strike on Iran. Yeah, well, they just say the justification is because uh, they have to defend Israel, basically, is what they say. It's not good, honestly. But no, I think they'll say, well, it's because they could still have a nuclear bomb or something. Yeah, it did snow in Florida this year. It'd be just crazy because it was freezing in Texas, Florida, Louisiana. It was freezing all on the central and eastern side of the United States for a little while. America first. Yeah, I mean, I think most younger people are, they don't really have loyalty to any of these other countries, so they resonate with that type of stuff. Obviously, we do want to put the United States first. I just think the country is it's hard to really get the country back in order based on what's happened with the immigration. So I think there's really no way there's really no putting the toothpaste back in the tub after this. So I mean, unless they think some crazy person's gonna come in, I don't see it. Yeah, well, now it's like they want the regime change, but the problem is with the regime change, there's gonna be so many questions, and it's probably really messy. Unlike the strikes that happened last year. I mean, the strikes last year, there's a beginning and end. You strike the plants, it's done and over with. But with something like this, where it's a regime change, you might strike a few times, but the regime is still standing. Then you have to strike again. Then there has to be some cooperation from rebels fighting the Ayatollah. So it seems like it'd be very complicated. But you know what? With the military and the way that Trump has operated with Maduro and stuff, you almost wonder if they just take out a bunch of their top leaders and it's just over. But even that would still require installing the exiled prince. No taxes on overtime should make people. Yeah, I mean that's that there were a lot of taxes that got cut, and so hopefully that helps. There was a lot of middle class taxes that got cut too. It's not just the corporations. Yeah, I don't really think they're threatening us though, but they're not threatening us to any crazy degree that they could do anything. I mean, they're not threatening us any more than like North Korea, Iran. I mean, what would they do against the United States? It's just there's nothing. They're a threat to Israel, not the United States. Iran. I mean, I guess they might also be a threat in terms of like disrupting oil production, maybe. But I didn't hear about what Mike Vrabel was saying about Bad Bunny. No, I didn't hear that. This is just a random account. News Baron Trump. U.S. needs Rupert Lowe rhetoric times 100. Trump stain. Yet again, showing us his priorities. Reversing the great replacement must be objective number one. Yeah, I think the demographics shape the entire country. So I think the demographics are the most important. I mean, I don't know about Trumpstein and stuff like that. I mean, Trump obviously they have blackmail on him, so he has to do something, or else they're gonna release things. I mean, what do you want him to do? Trump is like, yes, I admit it's blackmail. Like he has to do this. Why do you think Netanyahu's met with him 7 times? I feel bad for Trump, honestly, because he has to do this stuff. But Iran will attack our bases in the Middle East. Yeah, but then they would just get hit even harder after that. I mean, it's all calculated. Why do you think they didn't really attack anything after they got struck? Well, now yeah, maybe now they will do something because if their regime is on the brink of falling, they might try and strike the U.S. But they're not going to win. That regime is not going to win. I think the whole thing with like Trump being a pedo is like the new Russia shit. Like I don't really see any proof of that actually being true. It's like with Russia, the Democrats kept saying, "Well, he won because of Russia," but there's like no proof of it. There's a smoking gun of Trump in the Epstein files. This actually doesn't really exist. I was looking at it. It doesn't exist anywhere. They just say it over and over again, so they say it must be true. But it really doesn't exist. There's no actual verifiable proof of it that you could find in the files, and I fact checked it and stuff, and it's just they just say it. It's just crap. Kevin O'Leary clips. Yeah, he's lying about the quantum computing. Of course, he's gonna say it because he doesn't really know. He says, "Well, quantum computers are gonna destroy Bitcoin, and that's why people are." That has no effect. That's the most. That is the dumbest narrative. The most normie narrative you can think of is the quantum computers are going to kill Bitcoin's price. Everybody that knows Bitcoin knows that the quantum computers are not going to be able to hack into the private keys. It's just not possible. And if it is possible, there's going to be a fork to Bitcoin's chain, and it's going to be improved, and it's not going to be allowed. It's not going to happen. But even with those quantum computers, they're still 15 to 20 years away, they say, from being able to decode private keys. Do people not realize Bad Bunny is a U.S. citizen? Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit different. It's Puerto Rico. It's a territory. Do you lurk in the Discord? Hardly see you active in there. Yeah, I'm pretty active, I think. I've been pretty active the past few months, but some days I just I don't really open Discord because that's really the only thing I use Discord for is my own. Like I don't have another. I don't have another channel that I use. It's only that one, so I don't check it a lot sometimes. If Bad Bunny is American, then why doesn't he speak English? Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's like it's Puerto Rican. They say they're their own country. They don't like Americans, and now they want to say, well, it's a part of America. So which one is it? I mean, come on. This is it's a territory, and they claim they're their own country when they compete in the Olympics and the World Baseball Classic. Well, I guess not the Olympics, but the World Baseball Classic and other events, other global events. Yeah, I think Trump will probably target probably one of those just South American countries or something like Colombia, Latin American country, Cuba, Caribbean, Mexico. Yeah, I don't really think Puerto Rico is all that American. It's like a colonized territory. I mean, technically it's American because we own the territory, but it's just through like I mean, you would think that most people would be like, "Well, no, Puerto Rico should be their own country. What the white people did was evil taking it over." I mean, now they want to claim they're Americans. It's funny. You want me to happen a VC sometime? Propagandize me with discussion. Yeah, I don't know about like a voice chat. I mean, there's guys. I know there's guys on the Discord that do voice chats. I don't know what time though. I don't understand these people. They all want to be Americans all of a sudden. It's hilarious. All right, but that's the whole point. That's really what Matt Walsh should have done. What is an American? Not what is a woman or whatever the thing he does. What is an American? That's really what you should do a video on. Yeah, I don't know about Mexico. I think it's going to be a challenge. I think there's going to be operations to take out some of the top cartels, and hopefully, it doesn't create a power vacuum. Hopefully, it allows for their corruption to go down. But it's hard to say. We can't deport anywhere near the required number of illegals, as Trump lacks leadership. Yeah, but also you have to understand whether you think Trump lacks the leadership or not. This is just how the United States is set up. So you do have to, and I agree with you honestly. You're probably really going to have to push executive power to the point to where you're kind of pushing it, or you're kind of doing some illegal stuff if you really want all these people deported. I mean, let's be honest. You're gonna have to really push the executive authority to the absolute brink, because I don't know in terms of mass deportations to where they're already arguing that people's rights are not being abided by, and That's with only 300K being deported. So how are you going to perform some type of event to where you deport millions of people in the span of like 6 months? Because realistically, that's what would have to happen probably, or at least, millions of people in a year. That's not really feasible with our current laws and like the system. You would have to really start. You'd have to really start utilizing other measures to deport them without court cases or anything like that. All the Puerto Ricans around you put Puerto Rican flags on their car, love Puerto Rico, but never have been there. Then will claim America as soon as you question why the Puerto Rican flag. Hmm. Yeah, I mean if they live in the United States, I guess. But yeah, you can see they clearly view Puerto Rico as a different entity, like a different country than the United States. That's the unique thing about it. It's a little bit more complicated. I mean, it's a territory, but it's far away from the 48. I mean, if it was a state and it was participating in elections since the 50s, like Alaska and Hawaii, I think it would definitely be seen more as it's in a different light. Alberta's 30% Indian. That's insane. They just accepted They can't be 30% Indian already. I know they're not the demographics that I thought they were going to be, but I don't know about 30% Indian already. They started accepting those Indian immigrants in 2020 and 2021, and it's just gotten crazy. Yeah, and see, that's what you would get impeached for. Fuck the courts. We should be able to deport, no questions asked. Yeah, I know, but obviously you would need you would need an authoritarian power for that, which I know a lot of younger right wingers want a fascist government or whatever, but that because you can't do it the way that the founding fathers set it up. I mean, but this is the crux to the argument. This is the problem. We've irreversibly changed our demographics, and nobody voted for it. So how can we really like? This is the issue with democracy. This is the fundamental problem. If we have changed all of our culture and all of our demographics and we didn't vote for the change, that what is the purpose of democracy? Really? It seems a bit ridiculous to me to go through this crazy change as a country. We didn't vote for the change, but then we still say democracy is like the best thing. It's there seems to be a problem there. Why are the British people becoming radicalized? Yeah, that's what I've been saying. I've been telling people. I think people in the UK are there's a lot of them that are right wing. You can tell there's a lot of seepage in terms of the UK politics and the American politics, and there's a lot of verbiage coming from the UK that's even better than what we see with a lot better than what we see with Trump. Because Trump is just he's set in his ways, and but with the UK, I mean, they're really going based on demographics and certain demographics, and the US, Trump doesn't talk about that. I think the UK is still more liberal, obviously, but they definitely have fractions that are developing, and I mean, at a certain point, there's a breaking point. These countries can only take so much of this immigration. They're going to turn. A lot of the European countries are starting to turn more conservative. They've been liberal forever, and they're starting to turn. Canada was about to turn during the last election, but it's like they're so close to turning, at least a little bit conservative. The Iraqi buildup was at least 3 times bigger unless Trump brings in more forces. Trump is bluffing. Yeah, I don't think that means Trump is bluffing. I think there's going to be limited strikes. Just because there's less, I mean, if there was the same amount of forces as Iraq, I'd be nervous. I don't think there's ever going to be an Iraq event. Like Trump knows there's not going to be a land invasion or anything like that. What they're going to be, I think they're going to do strikes, probably targeting specific leaders. Um, And that's what's going to happen. I don't see any type of negotiation unless Trump really, Israel would be so angry. But if Trump really wants to just say, fuck it, we're done with the Middle East, he can do a negotiation. The U.S. probably has decent leverage in a negotiation. They could probably get a decent deal, but it's never going to be, oh yeah, our regime is going to be removed. We'll do a negotiation. They're not going to. They're not obviously not going to do that. If you want regime change, you're going to have to strike them. Or if you want them to eliminate their nuclear program, they're not going to agree to do that. You're going to have to strike them. You could probably get a decent deal with them to where they would say, all right, we're not going to enrich anymore or some shit like that. But no, I agree. There really shouldn't be due process if they come here illegally. But I don't know exactly what the law is on that. They seem to have a lot of these court cases, and they say it costs them $20,000 to deport a single illegal immigrant. So there's got to be some level of due process that's happening here. These liberals, they say, well, you treat these immigrants terribly. Well, how do they cost $20,000 to deport per immigrant? I mean, it seems like there's got to be some level of due process involved in that. And then they say, well, everyone, has is the Constitution stuff. What's for illegal immigrants? Bluffing in terms of full-scale war and invasion. Yeah, but that's never going to happen. I mean, if Trump did that, it would be done. If Trump recreated Iraq with a land invasion, it's not. The thing is I think people are just really trying to drum up this because they don't like Trump, and so they say there's going to be this massive war. I don't think there's going to be a massive war. There's no way. The problem is it fundamentally, is cucking to Israel. Why can't Trump just drop missiles and be done? Well, he can. He can do that. The problem is it probably won't accomplish anything like a regime change if you just do missiles. Maybe it will. I mean, it depends how effective they are and the rebellious movement of the citizens of Iran, but I don't know. You need someone who's blackmail proof. Yeah, that's the thing is, dude. That's why being the president. I mean, oh man, that would be brutal. That would be brutal because there's so much shit that you probably know that you can't tell other people, and then the actions that you do makes you look bad, but you have to do them because of certain things. Land invasion of Iran was never on the table. IDK, well, that's even in the conversation. I think it's because they have a large buildup, and also if you want a regime change, it may require some type of. But yeah, it's not going to be anything like that. You signed up for no new wars. Well, I think they'll say it's not. It's not really a war. It's more of a military strike. I mean, it's. We'll see. We'll see what they invest into it. It depends what they invest into it, whether or not it's a war. I mean, and how long it lasts. Why is Maduro getting due process for what he allegedly is being charged with, but an illegal immigrant street vendor needs to be deported? Well, technically, Maduro was expedited to the United States to be tried for crimes. Illegal immigrants, their crimes are that they're here illegally. But it's not like Maduro came to the United States illegally and we're deporting him back. No, we brought him to the U.S. to try him. Illegal immigrants didn't commit any crimes, or we would hope they don't commit any other crimes other than entering the country illegally, so they just get deported. I should run in 2026. Yeah, Brown looks terrible, dude. Brown he's aged really bad. Everybody loves a lot of the independents love Brown in Ohio. I don't know. I don't think he's gonna win. The Democrats are trying to get like, ooh, he's already won in Ohio, so we'll just use him. He looks terrible. Sherrod Brown. He aged horribly. He's struggling. Trump on Truth Social said he will release the UFO documents and alien documents. Yeah, this is they did, and then people just say, well, it's a distraction. Anytime there's UFO stuff or alien stuff, people just say it's a distraction. Yeah, I think Vivek will definitely win because Casey Putsch. I mean, that's not a serious campaign. That you can't be serious with something like that. I mean, there's just no way. I mean, it would be funny if Casey Putsch somehow won, but it's just it. Yeah, I just can't see it. Vivek has too much of the funding apparatus and the Trump endorsement, and trademark that. Oh man, they said the same thing about Trump in 2016. We need a bear hall putsch. Remember that? Yeah, that's an interesting last name, but yeah, I don't think it's like 20. I don't think it's like Trump because Trump was popular. But who knows? I mean, maybe he gets into a debate against Vivek and he owns him. The beer hall putsch of Ohio.
See what he wants? He wants me. Let's see, dear American.
It's the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award,
Wow, that's pretty good.
but I don't want his name on there. So can you help me out?
I love it.
He doesn't want Biden's name on his lifetime achievement award. Yeah. Mine's not an auto pen. His is. That's an auto pen. See that? You know that's an auto pen. See, that's an auto pen. You want me to cross it off?
Yes. That's it right there.
That's an auto pen signature.
That's it.
You think he signed it? He didn't sign that. Crazy, man. Crazy stuff, right? That's crazy. I don't know how he did that. Auto pens.
Do you think Trump's Board of Peace plan is for the replacement of the UN? I think Trump wants to consolidate foreign power within the United States, so he's created this peace board. The problem is none of the first world countries are joining. You know, they're not falling for it. They know that it's just a Trump apparatus and Trump's going to have a lot of control with this peace board, and it's a noble idea. It's an interesting idea to try and get a lot of the power, but do you think Fishback is a serious candidate? Yeah, no, not really. I mean, he did like a stream with Sneeko, and I mean, dude, it's just weird, honestly. I don't know. I mean, you're trying to run for governor. You're doing these streams with these younger guys. I just think it's not really a serious campaign. I mean, I guess you're trying to like get your name out there. Boomer Slop still talking about the auto pen. Bro, Trump is never going to give up the auto pen. He has a freaking plaque for the auto pen in the White House. Instead of Biden's name, it's the auto pen. Katy Perry genuinely with Trudeau? I think so. I think they're dating. GOP gonna lose midterms because they won't do mass deportations. Now, I think the midterms are about the economy. The midterms are about the economy. That's what's really gonna win Trump or lose Trump the midterms. I don't think it's the mass deportations because most of the people that want mass deportations are gonna vote for Trump. Either way. Yeah, a lot of these candidates are trying to like really get like a massive online presence. You can tell. I mean, I guess that's how you have to do it nowadays because everything's online. When is he doing the midterm convention? Yeah, it's going to be in Cleveland, Ohio in July. No, I actually don't know where it's going to be. It's going to be in probably an important state, a swing state. Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting surname, isn't it? Yeah, you wonder about that surname. I don't know, man. Bill Clinton get arrested? He's not getting arrested. I'd be shocked. Trump said he likes Bill Clinton like a week ago. Take 50K cash right now or spend a whole 24 hours with legit real outer space aliens and travel in their UFO, see their world, return safely. Yeah, you gotta go with the aliens. You gotta go with the aliens. Even if you can't tell anyone, you gotta go with the aliens. It's a spiritual thing. Clintons are too well connected. Yeah, it's never gonna happen. I mean, I guess with Prince Andrew, maybe people still think there's a chance, but not with the government apparatus, all the protections. They're untouchable. If they get touched, then Trump is probably gonna. There's probably something that's gonna happen to him. I mean, it all works together. They have to protect each other. Yeah, you would have to offer me like a $1 billion or something, 50K. Rupert Lowe figure in the U.S. Yeah, that's certainly there's nobody mainstream that's like that that's running for elected office. Yeah, people say they get abducted by aliens. Some of the stories seem semi-realistic. I don't know. A lot of them are just probably on some type of drug, hallucinogenic. At a certain point, you have to at least try to be the adult in the room. The problem is, man, so many of these primary voters are just like normie older people. They don't really relate to any of this stuff. Where it's like talking like younger. When you're talking about primaries, let alone just the midterms, this is before the midterms. Now maybe this is different, and I think a lot of this is like, well, New York City and what happened with Mamdani, but I don't know, man. I just don't know if you're going to get younger people to come out and vote in those numbers to be able to win like Fishback against Donalds. It seems so unlikely. You look at, but Mamdani was also a city, so it seems like that. I mean, it's a major city, but and also it helps you're running against someone like Cuomo who's disliked. I mean, Byron is bought out by APAC. Yeah, Byron is not very good of a politician. I mean, it's so maybe people will be like, "We're not going to vote for this dude. This is a joke," and they'll just vote for Fishback. But I mean, Trump endorsed Donald's. Do you think Massey is going to lose? Probably. Well, I haven't seen polling, but obviously Trump is going hard against him. He's endorsing the person that's primarying against Massey. I don't know, man. Massey, I think, has a loyal base, but we'll see. I think Massey is kind of turned into this grifter who's just a one-trick pony with Epstein. But I mean, people say he's principled, and Fishback is terminally online candidate. Yeah. I mean, I don't think many people really are online like that to know about him, but that's the problem for him. He is out campaigning. It's like Ramaswamy. They campaign everywhere. I mean, you give them credit for their work ethic, but obviously it's also they're power hungry. But Donald's just goes to these Israel dinners now. Have you seen that? I mean, it's just like really bad. Democrats can win with ridiculous people running somehow. Yeah, I mean, I think with Democrats it's easier because they've got like a younger coalition almost. Republicans, they're getting younger with the younger men being more conservative, but it's a little bit different. The Democrats have like this built-in coalition of like younger college kids that are very liberal. Like that's one of the ways Mamdani was able to win because all of these younger college kids are politically active. And Republicans were young men really weren't like that until really recently. So it's kind of hard to judge the impact it'll have. Fishback's going on Rogan. Well, that would. I mean, I wonder what that would do for him. I mean, it would help. It would get him more reach. Yeah, but the chronically online boomers aren't viewing that type of content. They're all on Facebook. How does Maduro get due process? Well, he's it's a trial. It's a trial because it's international. It's international. It goes through the international committee, goes through the international courts. But he'll be tried in the U.S. But it's an international case, I think. Honestly, I just make this stuff up. I mean, I don't know, but something like that. Yeah, Mick Cronin. That dude's crazy, man. He ejected one of his players. Mick Cronin. Do you think the female gold medal hockey team will hook up with the male? I mean, but I don't see the point of that question. The Alzheimer's drug. Yeah.
It was just regularly done.
Answer the question.
Okay. It was.
Wow, his lawyer's trying to protect him. Do you think the Save Act is going to get passed? Yeah, I have faith in the Republicans in Congress. I think they'll pass it. They'll pass it at some point, maybe. I don't know. No, they'll pass. They might have to revise it down or something. Maybe then they'll be able to pass it. It's a challenge. I mean, you'd think you'd be passed easily, but I don't know what happened to Nancy Guthrie. That's a crazy. It's a bad story. Hot white girls competing for China. That was only one, I thought. Is there another one? And they get paid by the Chinese. They should be deported from the country if they're doing that. I mean, it's terrible. What do you? The country is just getting dog walked. These women get sponsored by the Chinese, and then they compete for China. Well, then just deport them. Who cares? And then they're like, we don't even like America. Well, then just go to another country. We have like 300 million people. Why do we give a fuck if a girl gets deported? All these people saying how much they hate America. What does it matter to us? Why did the momentum of that die? Well, I don't know. I mean, I think, who knows? They're always in recess. That's the problem. They never get anything done. It's supposedly it's in the Senate. But I think they're trying to force the Democrats to have to physically filibuster the entire time. Otherwise, they can just do it anyways, and it'll just be bogged down. They have to force them to filibuster against this SAVE Act. The Tampa Bay Rays new stadium renderings. Yeah, I mean, I think they look mediocre, honestly. Send the whole women's figure skating team to China. I don't know about that. I mean, there's some good capital on that team. I'm not sure about that one, but I mean, if they want to support the United States, listen. The problem is they're getting bought by the Chinese and they're accepting it. They love America until they're deported, then they hate America. No, you mean they hate America, and then when they get deported, they love America because they want to come back into the country. This is the thing. That's why they have all the Mexican flags in the United States. They wave them around. Then why are you in the country? You know, these people, because they're trying to answer the question, because they keep getting asked. It's like, you're waving a Mexican flag around, but you've immigrated to the United States, so why? And then they say, well, I'll admit there's better opportunities here, but we like the Mexican culture and everything like that better, but there's better opportunities here. But we also hate the United States. Okay, well then why did we let you in the country in the first place? It's time to go home. We have 300 million people. Why do we need you here? Like, these people, they think that it's just like this. We already have robots and all that anyways. They say, well, you're too lazy. White people are too lazy. They don't want to do anything. We can just say we have robots now anyways. We have robots, whatever. We'll do manual labor. Abby Phillips, very biased. She tries to be a moderator. She's very biased, and it's just it makes it hard to listen to because of her bias towards liberals, or I guess against conservatives. Yeah, I mean the Dodgers. It's really bad. They have a super team, obviously, and I think baseball is hoping they don't win this year. Because if they win again, I mean, now it's getting... They win again, and then you go into this lockout. Think about that. So they go on a three-peat, and then it's a year-long lockout. Do you think baseball will be played? Or no, I think they'll have a year-long lockout. They said the baseball has said, they've said, we're not going to be playing in 2027. The owners hate the players hate the owners, the fans hate both the players and the owners. So they have to have this long lockout, and hopefully they'll be able to fix the collective bargaining, and they'll be able to actually come back and because they had a lockout in like 2021 or 2022, I think. So they're going to have a year-long lockout. They said we're done. We're not going to play in 2027. And hopefully they're able to fix everything because that sport is messed up. It's really badly messed up, and they know it. Because the Dodgers have just broken it now. They have to completely restructure everything. It's going to take at least a year. No, honestly, they probably will try and play in 2027 because the revenue. They don't want to miss the gate revenue, but obviously it's a hard situation. I mean, both sides are dug in. Yeah, that dude, if they do that, that'd be so stupid. You cannot do another COVID type season. I just think that's fake. Like a 50 game season. You know if they come to an agreement in July, you know they'll do that 100% because they're like, well, we can get money. But it's like, bro, nobody would believe that like a 25 game MLB season. They might as well just table it at that point. Like they might be able to begin the season in May, maybe, but I don't know about after that, man. Because they might have like a 120 game season, maybe. Maybe they try and do that. No, I don't think Shohei Ohtani will win the Cy Young Award. He doesn't pitch enough innings. They don't pitch him enough. He pitches every sixth day, anyways. And some of the starts on sometimes he doesn't even he skips starts because they don't want him to get injured. He should just be a hitter, Shohei Ohtani, but he's like only a DH. He's basically only a DH at this point. Sometimes he pitches, but he gets injured when he pitches. You're Mexican, it's just a pride thing. They will never understand how bad it looks. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of them are just refuse to assimilate, and I mean, do I have Michigan beating Duke Saturday? Yeah, I mean, I think Michigan's better. It's a good game though. They play 162 games if they start in June. No, they can't. They really could not be able to do that, dude. There's no way. They would fuck up the schedule for the next season. They're not going to do that. If they have to start in June, they wouldn't play 162. They'd might play like 144. They would play like 130 if they started in June. Candace Owens again. Yeah, Candace Owens just says the same. She just says the same stuff over and over again about Charlie Kirk. It's just a grift. Yeah, I'm gonna buy potato soup and Guinness tonight for $5, bro. What do you think about this inflation? Maybe give me $50. I'll be able to do it. You like Jeb Bush? Jeb Bush is your profile pic. Please clap. Please clap for the $50. Can you pull up Trump's post right now? He's talking about aliens. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure but it's just like board of peace. Yeah, there's no way these countries are in. These countries are not even in it. Trump's board of peace. It's all third world countries. Donald Trump. Look at the flag for Trump. Oh, they've got it ready to go. It's the distraction. Yeah, obviously it's a distraction. Now Trump's doing the alien stuff. North Korea joining the Board of Peace. You know, you have to pay $1 billion to join it. And the $1 billion, I guess, is going to rebuilding Gaza. You got to pay $1 billion to join it, and the $1 billion is going to building a massive U.S. monument. A U.S. monument that costs $5 or $6 billion. Trump should build something like that. That would be a good idea. Thoughts on XRP? Yeah, I'm not going to be buying XRP. I might buy Solana. If Solana dips low enough, I might buy Solana. I might buy SPX. I might decide to buy SPX if it dips low enough. But I don't know, man. I don't know if I can really do that this time. I have to kind of invest into something that has utility, which is why I'm thinking about just buying Solana. Because I feel like Solana will obviously do a higher X than Bitcoin, but you never do know. Yeah, but Solana has to go under at least under 50, or maybe under 60. Have you ever seen an illegal alien in person? Maybe a few times in major cities. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe they weren't illegal. I've never seen ICE detain one. Yeah, the alien stuff is not going to be believed by anyone. They're just going to say it's a distraction. I mean, unless there's some serious proof that's shown, people will just call it a distraction. Yeah, it's really, you know, with whether it's XRP or Solana, I'm not talking about the functionality or the utility of the coin or the real world adoption. It comes down to the fundamental price and the history of the coin. Solana is very likely to do a higher X than XRP. I mean, XRP also is higher in market cap. So XRP is already technically valued over Solana. Now we'll see what happens. Maybe Solana will catch up, but I mean, what do you want me to go to the Olympic clips? I mean, what's the point? The Olympic clips. All right, guys, that is going to do it for this live stream. We got to end it there. We'll have to see if there's any. There might be something that happens tomorrow with the strikes. I don't know, but GG's. Yes, GG's. Good game. All right, guys. I'll see you another time. I honestly, I could go for a 4 or 5 hour stream if something happens with Iran. But I don't know if something will happen. We'll just have to see. What an interesting comment that is. All right, guys. I'll see you.